One of the things I've realized is that there's so many chemicals in laundry detergent and the soaps out there. So I either make it myself, it's actually pretty easy, or I use my green fills. If you go to chantelrayway.com/soap, I'll give you my free recipe for laundry soap. Or if you just feel like buying one that's really clean and not filled with tons of chemicals, you can get it there. chantelrayway.com/soap. Hey guys, I'm on my way home from being on national TV talking about intermittent fasting, and I'm answering the question, does intermittent fasting help you lose weight? Maybe you guys have tried intermittent fasting and lost some weight, but now you might just be stuck in a rut where you're not losing as much as you want. Well, I've interviewed over 1,000 thin eaters, and I've learned that intermittent fasting is just one of the tools they use. But there's so many more. There's 9 other principles that they use to stay thin. To get out of your rut, click here to watch this free video. Hey guys, welcome to today's episode, and I have Melissa Kathryn with us today of melissakathryn.com, and our title today is a great one. It's called How to End Emotional Eating and How to Stop Using Food as a Coping Mechanism. So Melissa, welcome. Tell listeners a little bit about yourself, your journey, and what made you create your website and how you have your following.
Yeah, okay. It's been a long story, so I'll give you as brief of a synopsis. So I teach what I struggled with. I thought I was just like every other girl. I thought, I'm dieting. This is what everybody does. Like, you're just dieting. And then I realized that so much of my self-worth was tied up with my weight. It started when I was a little girl. I had really poor body image. My mother was very much, I love her so much, and this is not a knock, but just more critical of me and my weight and needing to look a certain way. And I really internalized that as something's wrong with me and it has to be my weight. And as a result, I didn't really start with the disordered eating until after I graduated from college, which I'm very grateful for. And it was when I actually went to Weight Watchers and I moved to New York City. And I remember I was in the fashion industry, and it's so true. So many of the women were like, you're going to eat that? And, and just everyone was kind of like hardly eating their salads. We would go to the bar at night and it was like, vodka and olives were your dinner, and I just remember sitting there like, this is so bizarre. But then, you kind of like, I got wrapped up in that world. To bring it up to speed, I basically started off in Weight Watchers, and I still know all the points to everything. And my mind got, I was like, oh, well, I started manipulating the Weight Watchers system to how many points do we need to really get the results that I want. And I really got into the dieting industry. And from there, I ended up doing a lot of different things, but I ended up doing a fitness competition, and I won Best Body in the International Natural Body Federation in New York City. And I had transformed my body. At this point in time, I was an ideal body coach. I was helping women get their body and transform and do all the things. And I gained the weight back in about 3 months' time. And it was then that I really sat and I said, I don't need another diet. Like, I've done all the diets. I know how to transform my body. I'm a nutritionist. I've got the background with science. I've done fitness. Like, I was a fitness trainer. I've now competed. What's going on here? What's really underneath all of this? And I really saw that I had such a lack of a relationship with myself. I didn't want to be alone with me. At that point, I was binging on healthy foods. I was binging on protein bars. I think I would sit and eat 6 crust bars, in a row. And I mean, there was such an unhealthy, I looked more forward to coming home and spending my nights with food than I did going out with my friends living in an incredible city, and I sat there and there was so much shame and guilt, and there was no reason for it, because on the outside, I looked like this fit, healthy girl, and I was always going up and down. I call it like a dieter's prison. I was either up 10, 15 pounds or down. Either way, I was in this prison within my mind of making myself wrong, of either restricting and depriving and living in the gym, or I was, up 10 pounds and not wanting to do anything, not wanting to be seen. And I really saw that once I got underneath this, I was like, okay, I need to deconstruct this, because nobody is actually teaching you how to get to the other side. And I just saw that I was like, oh, this isn't just a dieter. Like this is my way of life. And I don't know what to do if I'm not making myself wrong, and how much my worth was tied up in that. So bringing it up to speed, then I created the method that I teach. I healed myself, and I've maintained that weight loss and had a healthy relationship with food. And what I really saw that most recently for me was that I got diagnosed with thyroid cancer. And what saved me, and what I'm so passionate about with helping women now, is like not only healing their body and their relationship with food, but opening up that channel of connectivity in with yourself. Because when you aren't even looking at yourself in the mirror, when you are being unkind to yourself, when you're using food to cope with life, and you're actually in that relationship with food, and you're not in a relationship with self. And it was through my relationship with my body that I actually got the guidance, like get your throat checked, continued to pursue that, found out I had cancer, got on the other side of cancer, and healed my body of a lot of different illnesses and things, where I'm really passionate about helping women to understand that relationship is one of the most priceless, profound things that you can have within yourself.
I love that. Well, one of the things that you say that I've never heard anyone say before, and I saw on your website, which I don't even honestly know what it means, but on your website, you have a quiz and you say, learn how to eat right for your archetype to lose weight with ease and never have to diet again. So first of all, what does archetype even mean? I don't even know what that means. And give us a couple of glimpses of that. What are the kind of different things that you suggest to eat right for your archetype?
Yeah, so if you go and do the quiz, so an archetype is essentially a different type of person, an identity. We can say a personality quiz, but an archetype is, it's if you were sitting there going, okay, what is this person? How would I define myself? What are some characteristics? And you can see when you do the quiz that it goes into mindset, even down to the way that you dress, to the foods that you choose. So there's 4 different archetypes that I saw. I've been doing this work for over a decade, and I would see it in women. There's the nurturer, the avoider, the rebel, and the perfectionist. And it gives you a description of each, and I can run
through a couple of them real quick.
Yeah, so the nurturer is the woman that she loves to give. She's the yes girl. She's a people pleaser. She gives, often at a fault to herself. She gets so much of her worthiness. All of these archetypes, your worthiness is tied to this type of archetype. So she gets her worthiness from giving, from making other people feel good, from being the person that other people need. Now, here's the flip side of that, and kind of what we call like the shadow of that, is she often resents that she doesn't have time to take care of herself. As a result of being a yes to everybody else, she's the bottom of her priority list. And that means she gains the weight. She ends up seeking out food to give back to herself when she's exhausted, when she's feeling not appreciated. So there's a lot. She does the giving. She loves to take care of. And we often take on these archetypes as the role that we took on as a child within our family as well. And we often will see our mothers do that. And that's how it becomes our way of being. And it's a way that we kind of make up for a gap within ourselves where we're wanting to avoid that we experienced younger in our childhood, in our adolescence. So that would be the nurturer. And again, she ends up eating to make up for that and not taking care of herself. So then she doesn't have time to work out. But she's got all of these reasons why, right? And she's actually afraid to say no and to let go of those things. And because that's what gives her worth. Now the avoider and the rebel, well, I'll go to the rebel next for purposes of time, because so many women relate to the rebel. The rebel is the dieter. She restricts. Lives in extremes of black and white. And then there's very little gray. So she ends up going to these extremes, and then she ends up rebelling against herself. She's all in with her workouts. I'm going to go 7 days a week. I'm all in for this cleanse. I'm going to do this. And then she ends up seeing results. And the minute that she sees results, she ends up going the other way. and ends up going and binging that night, or overeating, or going out with friends and over drinking, and then eating too much, and then feeling really bad about herself. And it goes into a downward spiral. And then she has to go on the other extreme again of, okay, I'm back in the diet, I'm back in the game. So she lives in that space most of her life. And it causes her to always feel imbalanced, and she's never winning, right? And then you've got the avoider who always talks about wanting to lose weight. She always talks about wanting to heal her relationship with food. She always talks about, well, I get the body, but the truth is she's never doing anything about it. And it's really a fear of failure that haunts her. So she has other areas of her life where she's maybe, you know, her worthiness comes from her intellect, or her worthiness comes from being kind and it was so thoughtful and giving. But what she really wants and says that she wants, she's never actually doing anything about. She creates a lot of plans for the plan to do the things. And mentally, she feels like she's done a lot. And then she beats herself up for not actually getting the results. Right? Mm-hmm. So she's the one that's always like, okay, yeah, we'll do all the things. But when it comes to taking action, she's not taking action, but mentally she feels exhausted and like she has, and gets really frustrated that the results aren't there for all of the planning that she's been doing and all the research that she's been doing. So she's the one that's always Googling everything and planning and planning and planning. And that's where her frustration comes in. And then we have the perfectionist, and the perfectionist is, and you'll notice in all of these, there's one that you definitely relate with, and then a secondary that you're like, oh, okay. And you're going to relate to all of them. The perfectionist is, and I hate perfectionism. I'm a recovering perfectionist, because no matter what you do, it's never enough. If I actually, like when I do talks and I'll say in a room, what is your definition of perfection? All the women are just like, it's not me. You know, when we really get down to it, it's somebody other than me. Everyone has a different idea of the perfect body, the perfect life, the perfect amount of money. So no matter how successful and no matter how much weight you lose, you'll get down to that goal weight, and then you'll go, well, look, my arms are flabby. Oh my God, look at now I need a facelift. Now I need to, and now my butt saggy, my this. So you're never enough. So you're always finding fault within yourself. So no matter how wonderful things are, you're always looking at where you need to be, and you go from A to B. And when you're getting there, you're never actually enjoying the journey. You're just like, let me just get there already. And then when you get to B, you're looking at getting to C. So it's these ways of being that actually really, really show up in the way that we eat.
One of the things I've realized is that there's so many chemicals in laundry detergent and the soaps out there. So I either make it myself, it's actually pretty easy, or I use my green fills. If you go to chantelrayway.com/soap, I'll give you my free recipe for laundry soap. Or if you just feel like buying one that's really clean and not filled with tons of chemicals, you can get it there, chantelrayway.com/soap. Hey guys, I'm on my way home from being on national TV talking about intermittent fasting, and I'm answering the question, does intermittent fasting help you lose weight? Maybe you guys have tried intermittent fasting and lost some weight, but now you might just be stuck in a rut where you're not losing as much as you want. Well, I've interviewed over 1,000 thin eaters, and I've learned that intermittent fasting is just one of the tools they use. But there's so many more. There's 9 other principles that they use to stay thin. To get out of your rut, click here to watch this free video. So, you know, one of the things that I love about intermittent fasting is that I believe that's one of the biggest tools that really helped me to truly recognize true hunger, because, you know, I was eating all the time before, and then I never really understood. I was eating because it was breakfast. I was eating because it was lunch. I was eating because it was dinner. Once I started doing intermittent fasting, I truly started understanding the true meaning of hunger, and I was physically hungry, which I know that sounds weird, but for the longest time, I never was. I never even knew what being hungry was, because I just, you know, snacked here and ate here and did all of that. And so it's funny, because I was thinking, I wanted to ask you what your opinion is. My mom came down at Christmas time, and, you know, when she left, I think I gained like 2 pounds. I mean, nothing crazy, you know, but we go out to eat a lot, and we go to like healthy places that she loves. But I just when I'm with her, I always recognize that I eat a little bit more than I would if I'm not with her. And it was kind of an aha moment, because I was thinking, obviously it was like I only gained like 1 or 2 pounds and, quickly got it off. But why do you think, what could be some of the causes of why was I overeating when I was with my mom? And I'll tell you a little bit about my mom. My mom's very thin. She is a size 0 or a size 2, and she's gorgeous. She's absolutely beautiful. And she always was feeding me very healthy food when I was growing up, but some of it was really gross. And so I feel like I was always felt deprived. So like while other kids, like they'd open up their lunch and they got like a fruit roll up and chips, I was getting like turkey enchiladas, or something gross. And so, or she was making me, just something that was just disgusting. And so I had this feeling of being deprived. And so I'm trying to kind of relate it now, why is it that when I'm with my mom, I'm eating a little bit more? What would you say do you have any ideas on what that would be?
Oh yeah, I talk about this all the time. And by the way, you're not alone. The majority of women don't know hunger. I teach it in our program. So it's not like the most just start subscribing to dieting and they have no idea. They're eating 5 meals a day. They're eating 1 meal a day. They're eating 3, that they aren't connected and actually, don't know what that actually feels like. And many actually fear feeling hungry. So that's why they're always snacking on something, and they have a protein bar in the car, and it's fascinating. So I actually, if you ever noticed, like you go home for the holidays and you end up eating more,
Yes.
So we're animals by nature. So just like when, I hate to say this, but just like when an animal will maybe, come in the house and all of a sudden it can go to the bathroom, or like it knows exactly where to go, or it knows exactly where to go to look for food. Our bodies are very familiar, and they're very familiar. And you also know this, our subconscious mind stops forming after the age of 8. So we're all our inner child is what's really operating our adult decisions and behaviors. And behaviors that we've had since we were young will become exactly what we replicate again when we're with that familiar person. So also when we do mother-daughter work, you have an energetic attachment. You had an umbilical cord, there's an attachment. So you also pick up on your mother and your mother's judgments and your mother's experience of foods and energy and thoughts. We're all energetic beings. So as an animal by nature, and in terms of energy, you're going to pick that up and you will replicate behaviors regardless. And it will be almost like it's on autopilot, like you're watching, like having an out-of-body experience. Like, this is fascinating. I'm finishing my plate in front of my mother, but I was like done being hungry half of my portion ago. And if I was home, I wouldn't have done that. Wow, this is so interesting, because consciously you're very aware of yourself. But when we really look on a cellular level, and when we're coding and we're looking at the coding that we have, I don't want to get too far gone here, but when we're looking at the coding that we have from childhood, we replicate those patterns until we actually are doing those daily pattern interruptions. So what I would say with you is I would go back and do some of that work with your inner child, where it's like, what was going on for you? What are some beliefs that you have in that moment? What were you experiencing in that time with your mom? And really talking to her and doing like an open dialogue and seeing, how do I feel? Do I feel any judgments? Is there a part of me that still feels inadequate, or that is feeling like, oh, okay, mom, I get to show you that I get to make my choices with my food now, and I don't have to eat the things, right? Because we do have a rebellious nature in the inner child, right? We have all these different parts within us at different ages. And so it doesn't surprise me at all. I do a lot around like what to do when you go home for the holidays, and why you can be so healthy and have lost all this weight and feel so good and empowered around food. And you're great for like a day or two, but by day 3, you're like circling the Christmas cookies, it's really interesting. And it goes back to our patterns and our beliefs, and then also having to really shift energetically and do that pattern interruption to get us out of that loop.
Yeah, I love that. That's so good. So another thing that people kind of want to know is what do you do? Because you look amazing. You just have an amazing body and look fantastic. Tell some of the tips that you do. You know, are you really trying to limit your sugar, or are you eating what you want?
So I love when I love when I see people and they're like, so tiny, and they're like, she eats whatever she wants. And she's like, I do. If you notice when you watch fit people, they work at it. So I really want to be really honest here. Like I work out maybe 30 minutes a day, 45 sometimes. I'm not like, it's not crazy with that. I try to be as active. Like I'll do a walk at like sunset. I try to do that a few days a week, maybe like 2, 3. I'd love to sit there and say I do it all the time. But like I really want to be real, because I think there's a misconception when you watch naturally slender people. And I had to work to get where I am. I naturally have, I'm 5'4" and I'm like a tinier build, but I have muscular legs. In my family, there, you can put weight on quite easily. Like it's, Italian, Irish. My mom, like, food is love. It's like, do you feel like you're going to vomit? Like, keep eating, And so the things that I do is, and I shared this, I always share this with my community, is one, when you look at slender people and you watch what they eat, they might order a burger and fries, but watch that girl, she'll have maybe 4 or 5 fries and like half her burger.
Yes.
Not eating the whole thing. Now the dieter is like, well, I ordered a burger and fries, so I've already thrown my diet out the window, so I might as well eat that and then get ice cream.
Yes.
Right? It's a whole different experience.
Right.
I created for myself a fit identity. I remember my boyfriend, this wasn't like on purpose, but like my boyfriend at the time got up for the stock exchange. I lived in New York City. We got up at like 5 a.m. I was already up. And I was like, well, I might as well just go to the gym. I have a gym in my building. And then I started to notice, wow, I like this. Then I get more time with him after work. I don't have to do that crazy, bring your gym bag to work and do all the things. So I sat there and I was like, I looked and deconstructed it. And I was like, I created a fit identity. I made it so that it was a commitment to me. And I enhanced it by telling myself, how did it become an identity? When I really look back, I told myself why I loved it so much, why I loved moving my body, why it felt so good. I liked that I would already get to work and had already taken care of myself. I liked that people started to identify me that way and started, it was empowering. I liked that all of a sudden I went from never having been an athlete at all to like at all, to all of a sudden people wanted to know what I was doing. And it gave me confidence. I found this inner strength. I found this new way of being with myself. And I kept going, I really like this. So it started off as like, let me try this. I'm already up, to, okay, we'll add some days, right? Like I always tell people, I eat clean. So one is create a fit identity. Okay. So create the identity. Why is it beneficial to you to get the body? Why do you want that? What do you want to feel? What is good about it? Because so many look at, the restriction of it. Well, now I don't get to have fun anymore. It's like, who says? You know what's really fun is feeling good when you leave a restaurant. You know what else is fun? Buying clothes and loving the way you look and feeling them. You know what else is fun? Feeling strong and being aging and knowing that your body age is going down and down and down while your age is going up and up and up. Like, these are awesome. Like, I want to be a hot great grandmother. I want to run around and have my kids be like, dude, look at my mom, and my grandkids be like, I'm like running around with them. Like, I want to age backwards. So everything that I eat, I consider my body a temple. It has a purpose. Everything I put into my body has a purpose. Does this mean that I don't have ice cream and things? Of course I do, but I don't feel good with that stuff in my body all the time. I don't like feeling brain fog and feeling bloated and not feeling good. And when I do it, it is a hell yes. Like, I teach my clients, like, if you're sitting there, don't just eat a piece of cake because the cake's there and you already like feel like you blew your, like, make it a hell yes. Like, that I'm going to eat it and I'm not going to make myself wrong for it. And it doesn't mean that all of a sudden now I'm going to eat 20 other things. Cake is cake. And so one, create a fit identity and stand behind it and build it off of how you want to feel and what are the benefits. And vanity, there is nothing wrong with vanity. Not everything has to be, nobody wakes up and is like, I want to feel healthy. Like some people do, but in reality, you want to look good naked. You want to buy clothes. You want to like feel sexy and good. And you want to like, for aging, right? So identity. Next, meet yourself where you're at. You're not going to all of a sudden go from never having worked out to working out 7 days a week. That's setting you up for failure. Meet yourself where you're at. Start with 2 days and build on it. We never want to do something that we feel like we have to. We want to do what we choose. So you need to build the case for why you're choosing it, right? The next thing is recognizing really like, again, people that are fit, they're in the gym. Like they're not just magically like that. They are conscious of it. Every time I travel, when I was in Jamaica with my family recently, where am I? I got up and I went to the gym or went on runs in the morning. I took that time for me. It wasn't like I'm on vacation, I'm going to eat everything in sight. Again, that's the dieter's mentality because you think there's a short window and everything's food focused instead of really being people and fun focused. Well, I could keep going.
Yeah. Well, one of the things that I love that you said is that you were binging on protein, protein snacks and,
that calorie, because the dieting mind is like, oh, yeah. I can 5 of those instead. And you're counting calories. So you're like, I think I can get a little bit more in today. Like you're not actually living your life.
Yeah. And I think I have a part in my book and I talk about the fact that when people go on diets, they still are eating when they're not hungry. What they do for a short amount of time is they substitute it. And now they're eating carrots when they're not hungry. So they're still associating, I'm not hungry, but I'm just going to eat on protein snacks and protein bars. And, now I'll have a protein shake. And then I get tired of doing that diet and now I'm still eating when I'm not hungry, but now I'm moving over to the fries. And the other piece that I love that you said was about the fact that what happens is, and this was me, until I finally started interviewing people, and I interviewed over 1,000 women and I literally videoed them while they ate. And then it finally hit me. Because before I had this mentality like, she just has a great metabolism. She's eating burger and fries. And it's just poor little me. I have a terrible metabolism. And then I started videoing these girls and I was like, time after time, I'd realize, yes, she's eating a cheeseburger and fries, but she ate 5 fries and ate half her cheeseburger. Well, that's not that much food. And meanwhile, I ate the entire cheeseburger and the fries and the milkshake and ate every ounce of it and was eating her other half that she didn't finish. And never did it dawn on me.
Sorry, I'll just say, you'll notice too that also when you're not fixated on the food, you actually honor your hunger. Like you'll go out to eat with somebody and they'll go, you know what, I'm actually not that hungry. I'm just going to get like a juice or a cappuccino versus
right.
When you're fixated on food, you're like, you've been looking forward to that meal. You're like, oh no, we're going out to eat. Yeah. Like I thought we'd get an appetizer. I thought we'd get this. I thought it's all about the food, right? And you'll see that those women really are just like, they honor their hunger. Like it's not, the food is fuel.
I like that. Honor your hunger. So good. So tell listeners, this has been amazing. Thank you for your time today. Tell listeners where they can find you and where they can follow you.
Yeah, and I just want to say you're amazing, and I love what you're doing, and I love what you're sharing, and I love how many people you're helping. I mean, such a gift to bring them this information.
Thank you. You as well.
And I didn't mean to cut you off before. I'm like, I could keep going and talk about all the things.
Yes, it's true.
Yeah. So you can find me, I'm on all the social medias. No, it's true though. Instagram at Melissa Kathryn, and it's Kathryn. You can do our Eat Right for Your Archetype quiz, and right away you'll actually get like a mini snapshot of like how to eat, helping you with your emotions, like all the different things. So you can do that on my website. I have my Wholeness podcast where we talk about all the things, and it helps you with body, self-worth, empowerment, food, energy around food, and really being able to release your emotional attachment to food as well. And then Facebook, we have a exclusive private Facebook community that you can join for additional support as well. So all of those places.
Awesome. Well, that's been great. Thanks again for being with us. And if you have a question that you want answered, go to questions@chantelrayway.com. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.